Welcome to episode 15 of the podcast, The Tech Lounge, discussing the AI Value Gap 2026, why AI growth is not translating into profit.
Oh man, it is a heavy topic today.
It really is. So pull up a bar stool and join us, because frankly, if you've been, working in tech this week, you probably need a drink.
Make it a double.
Right. I mean, we've got a massive stack of brand new 2026 industry research and executive surveys right here between us.
The pile is literally taking up half the table.
It is. And our mission for this deep dive is to figure out this massive, frankly terrifying paradox that's going on right now.
Right.
We are trying to understand why companies are pouring absolute millions into artificial intelligence, but seeing virtually zero impact on their bottom lines. I mean, listen to this staggering statistic from the new data. Right now, across the whole enterprise landscape, only 5% of generative AI pilots are actually delivering sustained value at scale.
5%? That's just wild.
Yeah, and almost 90% of companies are reporting that their AI returns are falling wildly short of their investments. It is just an absolute bloodbath out there.
What's fascinating here is that we are firmly entering an era of what the data points to as profitless prosperity.
Profitless prosperity,
Yeah.
wow.
Think about that phrase. The technology itself is not failing. That's the crazy part, right? The large language models, they're incredibly capable. The computation speeds are there.
Right, the tech is doing its job.
Exactly. The algorithms are doing exactly what they are mathematically supposed to do. What is failing spectacularly is the organizational execution. We are seeing companies rush out to deploy these unbelievably sophisticated neural networks, but they're trying to cram them into legacy corporate mindsets,
Yeah.
fragmented data silos, and just a total lack of strategic alignment.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I'm looking at the numbers on what they're actually spending, and this velocity gap the data highlights is where the financial reality really starts to sting.
Oh yeah, the velocity gap is brutal.
Right. If companies are building and deploying AI faster than at any point in history, why aren't they making any money? I mean, the budgets aren't just creeping up, they are exploding.
Exploding is the right word.
Over 25% of firms surveyed are spending more than $5 million on AI right now in 2025. And that number is projected to jump to 34% by 2026.
It's massive.
They're literally just throwing millions at the wall.
They are, but the strategic planning behind that money is completely disproportionate to the spending. Like, only 15% of executives have even established return on investment expectations before signing the checks.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
You're telling me that a Fortune 500 company is handing over $5 million, or in some cases $50 million, to cloud providers without ever writing down what financial success actually looks like?
Pretty much.
How does that even get past a finance department? Like, how does that happen?
It gets past them because of pure, unadulterated fear of missing out. FOMO.
Just panic, basically.
Exactly. The board says, we need an AI strategy tomorrow, and the executives scramble to buy something, literally anything, just to show they are moving fast.
Wow.
And that panic leads directly to the velocity gap. Like, the research shows that 37% of companies are rushing their AI initiatives into production within 9 months.
9 months for enterprise software is insanely fast.
Right. They hit that launch button incredibly fast to satisfy the board. But here's the catch. Only 31% of them actually break even in that same time frame.
Oof. So they're just bleeding cash.
Exactly. They are carrying the full, massive computational cost of these AI operations for months, sometimes years, before they see a single dollar of actual business return.
It sounds like buying a ridiculously expensive commercial-grade gym membership.
Right.
Showing up every day just to sit in the sauna, tracking how much you sweat on some expensive app, and then wondering why you aren't actually getting stronger.
That is exactly it. They're confusing busyness with business.
Right. They see the dashboards lighting up, the AI is answering queries, the cloud servers are humming, so they feel like they're doing something productive. But it's just a complete illusion of efficiency.
That's a perfect way to look at it. And the data breaks down exactly where that illusion falls apart mathematically.
Okay, how so?
Well, when the researchers looked at the gap between the benefits companies actually wanted to achieve versus what they actually achieved, a very clear divide appeared. There's an 18 percentage point gap when it comes to cost reduction.
Okay, 18%. That's, not great, but not terrible.
Right. But there is a massive 57 percentage point gap when it comes to revenue increases.
Oh, wow. 57 points.
Yes.
So cost cutting is happening, mostly, but making new money is just failing.
Utterly failing.
Why is that gap so different? Like mechanically, why is the AI good at one and terrible at the other?
Because cost cutting is structurally simple.
How do you mean?
Well, if you deploy an AI agent to handle your Tier 1 IT support tickets, you can let a handful of outside contractors go, right? The line item disappears from the spreadsheet and you've quote-unquote saved money.
Sure, it's easy to measure.
Exactly. It's a localized, isolated action, but generating new revenue. Getting an AI to actually dynamically upsell a client during a complex negotiation, or discover a totally new market segment.
That sounds way harder.
It is, because it requires the AI to actually understand your business, to cross-reference multiple departments and take complex actions. It requires a fundamental shift in how the business operates at a systems level. And almost everyone is failing to build that infrastructure.
Which naturally leads us to ask, if 90% of these companies are failing to see the returns, who on earth makes up the 10% that are actually succeeding?
Right, the winners.
Yeah, and what are the rest of them doing so horribly wrong? The research broke down a survey of over 200 top executives into these really distinct archetypes.
I love how they categorize this.
It's so revealing. Let's start with the elite, the top 10%. The report calls them the Industrializers.
The gold standard.
Exactly. These are the companies that actually sync their speed to production with their speed to value.
Right.
62% of them hit their break-even targets right on time.
Which is huge.
But the detail that really stood out to me here was where the AI ideas were actually coming from.
Ah, yes. The demand source.
Right. Their AI adoption is driven by internal business unit demand. 81% of the time, the push for a new tool is coming from inside the actual working departments, like the supply chain managers or the accounting team. It's not coming from the top down.
And that is a crucial mechanism for success.
Yeah.
It's the difference between a tool that is pulled into a workflow because an employee desperately needs it to solve a real daily bottleneck versus a tool that is pushed onto employees from the top, simply because the CEO read a flashy article about AI on a cross-country flight.
Right, the airplane magazine strategy never works.
Never works. When the demand comes from the bottom up, the use case is already validated before you even spend a single dollar.
That makes total sense.
But then we look at the second group, which is where the tragedy really happens.
The stalled group.
The stalled group. They make up 39% of the market, and they have massive budgets. They deploy their pilots just as fast as the industrializers, but their execution is completely broken.
Yeah, I saw that.
They suffer from a staggering 22-point gap between getting a tool into production and actually breaking even on it.
That's rough. And then you have the third group, right? The observers.
Yes, sitting at 49%.
Basically, half the enterprise market is just standing on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Totally cautious, stuck in what we call pilot purgatory.
Oh, pilot purgatory is the worst.
They run a tiny test in HR here, a small test in marketing there, but they never scale anything enterprise-wide. And because the official corporate IT department is moving at a snail's pace, they fall victim to shadow AI.
Yes, shadow AI.
The research notes that 67% of these observing companies are currently relying on unsanctioned, low-code or no-code platforms.
And the danger of shadow AI cannot be overstated.
Because it's unregulated, right?
Completely. When the corporate IT is too slow, your employees don't just stop working, they circumvent you.
Right, they find a way.
Exactly. They take sensitive, proprietary company data, or worse, client data, and they upload it into random public AI web tools just to summarize a PDF or write an email faster.
Oh, wow.
It is a massive data breach waiting to happen.
I want to circle back to that stalled group for a second, though.
Okay, yeah.
Because this is the part of the data that initially confused me. The research shows that almost 80% of massive enterprises, like we're talking giant corporations with over 5,000 employees, are stuck in that stalled category.
It's wild, isn't it?
I need you to explain this to me. Because on the surface, it makes zero sense. If you have 5,000 employees, you have billions in revenue. You can afford to buy the best software, hire the smartest developers, bring in top-tier consultants. Why does having more resources and more money actually make these corporate giants worse at realizing value?
It comes down to what the research calls the architecture trap.
Okay.
The stalled giants aren't failing because they bought bad AI. They are failing because of how they are trying to integrate it into their massive, sprawling legacy systems. They suffer from a hollow tech architecture.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because when I was reading this, I kept thinking about how these companies operate.
Yeah.
And it's like they've built a slick, modern drive-through intercom, and bolted it onto a brick wall in an empty parking lot.
Huh, that's a great visual.
Right. Like, the AI voice sounds incredibly human. It takes your complex order perfectly. It speaks 6 languages, but there is no actual kitchen behind the wall. It can't cook the food, it can't check the inventory, and it can't hand you a burger. It's just an illusion of capability. So the stalled companies are basically putting a slick, modern coat of paint over a house with a crumbling foundation. It looks like a smart house, but the plumbing is broken.
That is precisely what is happening. In software engineering terms, that is the difference between using wrappers versus deep wiring.
Wrappers versus deep wire.
Right. The stalled companies, because their internal systems are such a mess of like 1990s databases and disconnected mainframes, they overwhelmingly rely on wrappers.
So they're just faking it on the surface.
Basically, they buy an off-the-shelf AI interface and they just slap it on top of their existing architecture. The AI can talk to the user, yes, but it doesn't have read and write access to the core company data to take any meaningful action. The industrializers, on the other hand, do the incredibly hard, unglamorous work of deep wiring.
And what does that actually look like in practice? Because the sources mention they use something called RAG pipelines. Like 91% of these top-tier companies use data-centric approaches like RAG pipelines that are directly connected to their source systems.
Yes, RAG is huge right now.
Let's pause right here. For the listener who, isn't a back-end software architect, what exactly is a RAG pipeline and why does it fix this wrapper problem?
Sure. So RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation.
Okay.
Let me explain the mechanics of it. A standard AI model is like a brilliant scholar who has read the entire internet up until last year. You ask it a question, and it generates an answer based on its general knowledge.
Right, like ChatGPT out of the box.
Exactly. But it doesn't know what your company's inventory levels are right now or what your specific HR policies are.
Because it hasn't read your private company emails.
Exactly. A RAG pipeline changes that. Before the AI, quote-unquote, generates an answer, it is forced to retrieve information from a secure private library of your live company data.
Oh, I see.
So instead of guessing, the AI dips into your actual real-time supply chain database, reads the exact shipping delay on a specific part, and then generates a perfectly accurate response for the customer. It connects the brain of the AI directly to the nervous system of your company.
And because the stalled companies don't have that deep wiring, they're stuck using these superficial wrappers, which leads to another massive problem, which is KPI paralysis.
Oh, yeah. The metric nightmare.
They quite literally don't know what metrics to measure because the AI isn't deeply integrated enough to affect the bottom line. So they just try to track everything at once. And the data shows they make a critical error here. They give equal weight to AI autonomy, meaning how much the system can execute on its own, and AI accuracy, meaning making absolutely sure it never makes a single mistake.
Which is an impossible engineering contradiction.
Why is it impossible?
If you demand 100% accuracy from a system, you are forcing it to be conservative. The AI cannot be autonomous if it has to stop and ask for human permission every 5 seconds just to be safe. You completely paralyze the tool. The industrializers understand this trade-off. The survey shows they prioritize autonomy 24 points higher than the stalled group. They actually let the AI run.
But wait, letting an AI run autonomously without prioritizing accuracy sounds incredibly dangerous. Like, how are they not just generating massive, expensive errors at lightning speed?
Because they manage the risks differently.
Okay.
The stalled companies try to put the brakes on the AI itself. The industrializers build automated guardrails directly into the platform hosting the AI. They let the AI run fast, but they put bumpers in the bowling alley.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right. They monitor the outputs and the data flows automatically rather than forcing the AI to pause for manual human checks.
Which perfectly transitions us from the cold, hard technology to the messy reality of the humans who are actually expected to operate these systems.
The human element is always the hardest part.
It is. Because the technology is truly only half the battle. We have to look at the people leading these initiatives and the employees on the ground. The sources outline this hierarchy called the pyramid of transformation. It starts with strategy at the very bottom base, then moves up to process, then technology, then implementation. But the very top tier, the pinnacle of the entire pyramid that holds it all together, is adoption.
Adoption is everything.
And 46% of enterprise leaders cite employee adoption as their absolute top challenge. You can build the most deeply wired, brilliant ARG pipeline in the world, but if your sales team refuses to log into it and keeps using their old Excel spreadsheets, your return on investment is effectively zero.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where data-driven value prioritization becomes critical.
What do you mean by that?
Because when humans are involved in evaluating technology, emotional decision-making inevitably takes over. Leaders fall in love with shiny tech, or they panic when people complain.
Oh, absolutely.
To stop the financial bleeding, the research suggests organizations need to use a structured 2x2 value prioritization matrix.
Okay, let's break that down.
You plot every single one of your AI initiatives on two simple axes. Technical sophistication on one side, meaning how well the technology actually functions under the hood, and user desirability on the other, meaning how much the employees or the customers actually want to use it.
Right, and plotting them out gives you 4 very clear, emotionally detached actions. Let's walk through them. If a tool is high-tech and high desire, that's easy. You scale it immediately. That's your golden goose.
Yep, no-brainer.
But what if it's low-tech but high desire, meaning the users desperately want the solution, but the tool you built is currently a bit clunky and keeps crashing?
Then you enhance it. You don't abandon it.
You double down.
Exactly. You pour your top engineering resources into fixing the bugs because the market demand, the desire, is already proven. You know they will use it once it works smoothly.
Now, here's the trap. What happens if an initiative is high-tech but low desire? Meaning your engineers built an incredible, flawless marvel of modern software architecture, but nobody in the company actually wants to use it.
This is where the sunk cost fallacy destroys budgets.
Yeah.
If it's high-tech but low desire, you deprioritize it. Stop throwing good money after bad. It doesn't matter how elegant the code is, you know? If it doesn't solve a human problem, it has no value.
Yeah, you just have to let it go.
And of course, the final quadrant. If it's low-tech and low desire, you kill it entirely. You shut off the servers today.
Pull the plug.
Yep. But making those cold, hard calls requires leaders to look far beyond single-layer metrics.
Yes, the dangers of relying on a single-layer metric are huge here. The research is very clear that you need macro solution-level metrics, but you also absolutely need micro segment-level metrics.
Completely.
Imagine this scenario. Your CFO is looking at a high-level corporate dashboard. They see a 3-week performance dip in a brand new AI customer service agent. The macro satisfaction score drops by 5%.
And the panic sets in.
Exactly. The CFO panics, assumes the AI is a failure, and emotionally kills the entire project just to save money.
But if that same CFO had access to the micrometrics, the segment-level data, the story would have been completely different. They might have seen that the AI agent was actually performing at a massive 85% satisfaction rate with all new customers. And it was only struggling with one very specific, tiny segment of legacy enterprise clients who had, like, unique contractual billing terms.
Exactly. You don't burn down the entire house just to fix a drafty window in the guest bathroom. You adjust the model for that specific segment.
And this is exactly why you need structured decision gates. Without them, human emotion and corporate panic dictate your investments.
So what do these gates look like?
You need to establish a 90-day trial gate just to assess initial reach and stability. Then, a 6-month gate strictly to evaluate the adoption trajectory, like are people actually using it more over time?
Yeah.
And finally, a 12-month gate for a full ROI financial assessment. If you document these gates up front, you prevent panicked stakeholders from demanding a final bottom-line verdict on a complex AI deployment after just 3 weeks.
It buys you time.
It forces the organization to breathe, look at the actual data, and make rational choices.
Okay, so let's summarize the damage so far. We've diagnosed the velocity gap, we know exactly why the skulled giants are failing with their hollow wrappers, and we know that human emotion and poor metrics are ruining the measurement.
Right.
Now, we need to give you, the listener, the actionable playbook. How do you actually walk into your office and become an industrializer on Monday morning?
Let's do it.
The research gives us the Industrializer Code. It's 5 distinct protocols that top-tier companies follow religiously. Let's hit the first one. Orchestrate, don't outsource.
This is a fundamental shift in how companies procure technology. Stalled companies often try to outsource their entire AI transformation.
They just buy it off the shelf.
Right, they just buy completely packaged black box solutions from outside vendors and hope for the best. Industrializers take a totally different approach. They buy capabilities, not finished products.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they might rent external cloud infrastructure or use external foundation models from big tech companies, but they rigorously keep the brain of the operation strictly internal.
By brain, you mean the business logic, right?
Sure.
The prompt engineering, the the unique workflows, the proprietary data routing.
Exactly. They keep all of that internal because that is their intellectual property. If you outsource the logic of how your business operates to a vendor, you lose your competitive edge entirely.
That makes total sense. Protocol 2 is don't wrap, rewire.
Oh.
This is about accepting the dirty work of what the sources call the brownfield mandate.
Brownfield, yes.
There is this fantasy in tech of greenfield development, right? Starting fresh with a totally blank slate. But let's be real. In the enterprise world, greenfield is a myth.
It doesn't exist.
No. You are dealing with decades of messy, tangled, legacy databases. The Industrializers don't shy away from that. They roll up their sleeves and rewire those core brownfield systems so the AI can actually breathe the company's real data.
Which brings us to Protocol 3, platform the risk.
Right.
This means building automated governance so that the safest path for a developer is also the fastest path. Stalled companies treat governance like a traffic cop.
Just giving out tickets and stopping people.
Yeah, they have human committees that stop projects, demand manual security audits, and slow everything down to a halt. Industrializers embed compliance directly into the developer platform itself.
So if I'm a developer at one of these top companies, and I use the approved internal platform to build an AI tool for the HR team, I don't have to wait 3 weeks for a security review.
Exactly. Because the security checks, the data anonymization, and the access controls are already hard-coded into the platform. They happen automatically in the background. It removes the friction while maintaining total security.
That is so smart.
Yeah.
Okay, Protocol 4 is to federate. Centralize the standards, but democratize the innovation.
Balance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want a siloed Wild West where every single department is buying their own rogue AI tools with corporate credit cards. But you also don't want a centralized IT dictatorship that bottlenecks every single creative idea.
You have to find that middle ground.
Right. You build a central hub for security and data standards, but you let the actual marketing, sales, and HR teams build the specific tools they need on top of that secure foundation.
And finally, Protocol 5, and perhaps the most important one, treat go live as the starting line.
Yes.
This is the ultimate hallmark of the industrializer. For a stalled company, deploying an AI agent is the finish line. They pop champagne, they celebrate, they cut a ribbon, and the executives move on to the next shiny object.
Job done, right?
In their minds, yeah. But industrializers know that day 2 operations, the continuous maintenance, the constant fine-tuning of the model, the daily troubleshooting, that's where the real financial value is actually generated.
It's exactly like opening a restaurant. The grand opening is not a ribbon-cutting ceremony where you just lock the doors and walk away.
Right.
It's handing over the keys to the kitchen. You actually have to buy fresh ingredients, cook the food, scrub the floors, and serve the customers every single day after the launch if you ever want to make a profit. You can't just build an AI, you have to actively operate it.
That relentless operational discipline is the only true way to bridge the gap between AI's technological potential and its actual bottom-line profit.
So what does this all mean? If we bring the massive scope of all this enterprise data back down to the daily reality of the tech industry, it demands a complete structural shift in the C-suite. CEOs have to actively orchestrate the entire organization instead of just cheerleading random pilot projects. CTOs had to do the hard work of building these deeply wired control towers instead of just buying superficial wrappers to appease the board. And CFOs must start funding shared platforms that benefit the whole company, not just siloed vanity projects for one loud department.
This raises an important question for you to take back to your desk on Monday morning. I want you to look closely at the AI tools you are currently using or building at your own company. Are they deeply wired into your daily workflow, actively accessing the legacy data that actually matters? Or are they just shiny wrappers, creating an illusion of efficiency while hiding the exact same broken processes underneath?
Because here is the undeniable truth we are heading toward. If intelligence itself becomes a cheap, widely accessible commodity, and with the speed these models are progressing, it absolutely will be. The only true competitive advantage left of the world will be how well your organization can industrialize it. Are you building an actual deeply interconnected system, or are you just funding an insanely expensive collection of science projects? Think about that as you head into next week. Well, it looks like they're wiping down the bar and closing up for the night.
Time to head out.
Yeah. Thank you for grabbing a drink with us, pushing through the noise, and really diving into the numbers. We'll see you next week, right here in the Tech Lounge.